Tonight, a machete-wielding man on the run in Whyalla after a terrifying hotel hold-up. And the time for talking is over. How the Coalition plans to attract and retain doctors to the far west of New South Wales.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf Studios, your nightly news with Madeline Kerr begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. To cap off a crime-filled start to the year, last night staff at the new Whyalla Hotel were held at knife point. A man wielding a machete escaped with money from the pub and is now on the run from police. Edward McCarroll was at the scene.
That's right, Maddie. I'm here at the new Whyalla's gaming entrance where a brazen criminal entered the property in the early hours of the morning demanding cash. At 1:25 a.m, a man armed with a machete entered the Gowrie Drive establishment and began threatening staff. Brandishing the large blade, the man stole cash from the hotel's gaming area and fled the scene before police arrived. He was last seen running away from the hotel in a southeasterly direction. Police attended the scene to investigate and confirm that no one was injured during the incident. The suspect is described as being of Caucasian appearance with an athletic slim build and aged between 25 to 30 years old. Witnesses say the man was wearing a black jumper, dark-coloured pants, a balaclava and gloves with a distinct large yellow star on top of the hand. The incident comes amid a wave of bottle shop break-ins and reported assaults across the city. Police are appealing to anyone who may have witnessed the crime or has details on this morning's robbery to contact Crime Stoppers.
Eddie McCarroll reporting there, thank you. Meantime, there's also been a spate of antisocial behaviour and violence in Port Augusta, with 2 incidents unfolding in the past 48 hours. So far, police have arrested a teenage boy aged just 13 years old. Daniel Pizarro reports from the city's CBD.
Maddie, I'm outside the Port Augusta Cultural Centre where a group of youths allegedly broke in and ransacked the building. The break-in happened just before 7 p.m. on Tuesday night, with several people smashing a back window and proceeding to go through drawers, cupboards and also stole a number of items, including a smartwatch and mobile phone. Police arrested a 13-year-old boy, recovering the watch and phone. The teenager appeared in Port Augusta Magistrate Court on several alleged charges, including aggravated criminal trespass and theft. He was granted bail to reappear in April. Police are asking the public for assistance in locating other members of the group that broke in. They're described as aged in their early teens, of Aboriginal appearance, all wearing dark shorts, with one wearing a black Chicago Bulls t-shirt, one wearing a white t-shirt and one wearing a yellow t-shirt with a blue jacket. Meanwhile, another teenager was arrested on Monday evening after throwing what police are calling a missile. The 18-year-old was arrested when he returned to his house and was charged with 2 offences of throwing missiles and property damage. Bail was refused and the teenager remains in custody. Another day in Port Augusta, another day of antisocial behaviour, and residents, businesses and the council are fed up of what's happening in the city. Maddie, back to you.
Daniel, thank you. Moving on to today's other news now, and New South Wales Deputy Premier Paul Toole was joined by Minister for Regional Health Bronnie Taylor in Broken Hill today. The pair spruiking plans to get more rural generalists out to the far west. Under the Coalition's proposed rollout, up to 100 rural GPs will be recruited each year, stationed at one of the 7 local health districts.
Focusing on health in the far west.
We're just going to show you how it works on our end to initiate the call.
The Deputy Premier and Minister for Regional Health ready to bring more doctors to Broken Hill.
That's why we appointed a Regional Health Minister, to ensure that the spotlight was on our communities, to ensure that they were getting the services, the staff and the needs that they have been wanting for a long period of time.
The state government wanting more people outside of the metro area to get the services they need, without having to travel hundreds of kilometres for it.
I want to make sure that we get the best care for people in the bush. I don't want to see people having to travel out of town just to get basic level of care or service in their local communities.
The Minister for Regional Health wants to see a statewide rollout of the single employer model after a successful 3-year trial in the Murrumbidgee Local Health District. The model gives trainee GPs the chance to work in private practices and local hospitals. Minister Taylor now asking for the feds to jump on board.
But I say to the federal government, I wrote to you in November, I said New South Wales is ready to roll this out statewide. That's what we want to do because we know it works. We know we can.
With the single employer model to be rolled out in Tasmania, the federal government says it will allow New South Wales 2 more pilot sites.
What I say is I can't just choose 2 because we have a serious issue with doctors in rural and regional New South Wales and we're ready to go right across the state.
Mr Toole imploring the Commonwealth Government to consider the Liberal and National stance on healthcare in rural and regional Australia.
I call on the federal Labor government to stand up for regional New South Wales, stand up for regional Australia and understand that you can actually help address this situation with doctor shortages here in this state by actually supporting our single choice employer model.
Joshua Mercer, 7, Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, Feeds steal a family car after breaking into a Port Lincoln home and taking matters into their own hands. A new rec centre opens in Port Pirie after locals complained there was nothing to do. Welcome back. Police are investigating after a car was stolen in Port Lincoln yesterday. Sometime between 6:30 p.m. and 5:50 a.m, thieves broke into a house on Ives Place and a silver 2009 Toyota Kluger was stolen from the driveway. The car displays the South Australian registration plates 408CRI. Anyone who sees the car is asked to contact the Police Assistance Line on 131 444. Meantime, police are also investigating a shed break-in where a motorbike was stolen from a property at Tumby Bay. The victim had his shed broken into and the pictured orange KTM 350 motorcycle was stolen from inside. If anyone spots the motorbike, has details on its whereabouts or has information that may assist the police with the investigation, call Crime Stoppers. Port Augusta City Council is encouraging organisations to apply for the newest round of community sponsorships on offer, with applications now open. The sponsorships can help with things like upcoming community events in Port Augusta or Stirling North, as well as council rates or council lease fees.
And some of the bigger events that the community might be aware of was the Port Augusta Golf Classic, the Port Augusta Races, Port Augusta Performing Arts and Clean Up Australia Day, just to name a few.
Applications close on February 24th and more information can be found on the Port Augusta City Council website. A Port Pirie family have taken it upon themselves to give the community an affordable and fun activity the whole family can enjoy. With opening day done and dusted and you're partial to a game of putt-putt, this story is for you.
It feels like a party every day in Port Pirie's only indoor mini golf centre. Emily Nestor and her partner moved back from Adelaide, where they enjoyed the occasional game of mini golf. Noticing a gap in the market, they thought, why not bring it here?
Listening to what the locals say we need more, so we tried to bring more.
A clever play on golfing terms in the word party, the centre is designed to cater for all ages. With a play centre for the little ones, a variety of golf courses for all abilities, and a cafe to sit back and relax.
So we had some young 3-year-olds through today, right up to couples on date nights on the weekend. I really hope grandparents bring their young kids. Teenagers, for sure, we're open late on the weekends.
Most importantly, Emily wants everyone to feel safe and welcome in the centre, saying it's a place for the community to have fun. Party accepts walk-ins and is now taking bookings.
It takes a long time to build a business up. It also takes a lot of money and a lot of hard work.
For more information about the business, search Party HQ on Facebook. Happy putting, Annabelle Francis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. A fuel subsidy trial gets underway in the Far West for shepherding athletes to faraway comps and making Jean Kelly and Debbie Reynolds proud. Your first glimpse of Port Pirie's own Singing in the Rain. Welcome back. Parents of young, talented athletes will be able to sigh with relief as help with travel costs are on their way. The New South Wales State Government is trialling a new program that will ease the burden on wallets.
Subsidising the cost of fuel, bus hire and public transport for trips over 100 kilometres or more. That's the gist of the new pilot program to help save money for families, schools and sporting clubs. The Western Region Sport and Active Recreation Transport Program came into effect earlier this week.
This 2-year trial will be $400,000 in total, $200,000 per annum. This is going to allow a cost of living rebate and support for our Far West communities.
The Minister for Regional Transport and Roads, Sam Farraway, knows there's a lot of travel involved for talented athletes in the Far West.
Because we know in the far west of the state, they are sporting superstars. We need to support them, but they have such huge distances to travel.
The program is not just limited to one sport. So if your swimming team is heading away for a carnival or the school footy team needs to hire a bus, then you can apply. The state government putting their all into the stars of the future.
So nearly every away game will be eligible for this funding, and we're making sure that we've got meaningful policies and backing in our youth and our sport here in the far west of New South Wales.
The good news also means that families can stay in the Far West instead of having to move cities or even interstate for their children to be successful athletes.
I think it's a fantastic announcement, and I think anything that enables our community and across our region to be more engaged in sport and especially support the aspirations of their children, I think that's really, really positive.
Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The Southern Flinders players have been rehearsing tirelessly in recent months, getting their singing, dancing and acting down pat for a big show. And with opening night just weeks away, the talented Triple Threats will be performing a well-known classic musical, and it's one you won't want to miss.
It's 1927 and the Hollywood movie business is transitioning from silent movies to films with sound.
Singing in the rain, just singing in the rain.
It had been a couple of shows since we'd had the opportunity to do a really classic Broadway style production. Singing in the Rain is just this really joyful, beautiful story.
Singing in the Rain has a little something for everyone. It has the romance, catchy songs and hilarious characters.
He's always been a big, confident person, and then this girl's come into his life that kind of pulls down all his barriers, and he kind of learns how to open up to her a bit more and kind of falls in love along the way.
For a small area, Port Pirie has 3 major theatre companies, and the cast said what makes Southern Flinders players so special is their dedication to inclusivity.
Lots and lots of different types of people to be able to get roles and be involved in all sorts of different ways, and I think that's really what makes Southern Flinders Players what it is.
Later this month, you can see what the cast has been working on for so long.
For a lot of people, Singing in the Rain holds a special place in their heart, but I also think a lot of people that don't know Singing in the Rain will come along and they will really enjoy the performance.
Tickets are now available from Country Arts SA's website. Annabelle Francis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. The petrol price pendulum swings in the other direction as the cost of diesel drops. And the final 4 weeks of summer. We'll have the weather details with Alex Sykes. Welcome back. As we reported a little earlier, some of our talented sports stars and teams from Broken Hill will be able to cash in on a new program to subsidise the cost of fuel. But for everyone else, unfortunately, jumping petrol prices mean there's still a bit of pain when filling up at the pump. Here's Edward McCarroll with this week's Fuel Watch.
If you're a motorist, it could be a good or a bad week for you dependent on what you're filling up with the price of petrol going up and the price of diesel going down. As you can see, there's not much diversity amongst our regional cities this week, with red arrows right across the board. Port Lincoln is practically the same, but in Whyalla we are seeing an increase of about 4.5 cents for unleaded, while Port Augusta and Port Pirie have seen their price jump up by 6 cents. Kadina sits at $1.78, while across the border in Broken Hill, they're experiencing a rise from $1.74 to $1.80 to fill up their tanks. But brace yourself for this one. Over the week in Adelaide, petrol prices have risen by a hefty 32 cents a litre. Moving on to diesel now, with a bit more of a positive outlook. Port Lincoln drivers can fill up for a cheaper $2.03 this week. In Whyalla, it's even better, dropping from $2.10 to $2.03. Port Augusta diesel prices remain practically the same, but Port Pirie has dropped a cent from last week. Broken Hill prices have gone down by about 4.5 cents, while in Adelaide you can fill up for $1.99. Lastly, taking a look at Autogas, everything looks virtually the same, except for Whyalla, which has jumped up by 1 cent, and Port Pirie, which has gone from $1.09 up to $1.16. That's it for this week's Fuel Watch. Now remember, these prices are just the regional averages and do not represent any one particular outlet. If you see fuel for cheaper, please let us know through our Facebook page.
Very informative, Eddie. Thank you. Well, it's time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather with Alex Sykes. Alex, how was the first day of Feb?
Maddie, it's hard to believe we're already in the second month of the year already, but in terms of today's weather, well, Broken Hill had its coolest day since early Jan, dipping down to 14.8 degrees just before 7 a.m. But as we all know, it sure can get a lot colder in the far west. Bit rainy in Port Lincoln today, less than a millimetre, recording just shy of 23 degrees at 3:15. Port Pirie was 28 at 2 p.m. and it was 24 degrees in Kadina. Looking more broadly at today's weather map now, temperatures under 30 degrees today, 29 in Cooper Pedy and Broken Hill, 27 in Port Augusta, 25 in both Woodner and Whyalla. Taking a look at the satellite image now, a ridge of high pressure is extending over South Australia at the moment. Cool, fresh southerly winds and showers are expected in the south of the state tomorrow, while a high pressure system will move south of the Bight over the weekend. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. And firstly, a strong wind warning is in place for Thursday. West to southwesterly winds 15 to 25 knots, reaching up to 30 knots in the late morning, seas between 1 and 3 metres, and south to southwesterly swell 1 to 2 metres, increasing up to 3 metres south of Port Neal to Port Victoria by early evening. Windy in Port Lincoln tomorrow between 13 and 21 degrees. Similar conditions in Cleve as well, but a bit cooler tonight. Woodner the same as Cleve, between 11 and 21 with windy conditions. Becoming windy in Whyalla, set to reach a high of 25 degrees on Thursday. A partly cloudy top of 26 in Port Augusta. Possible showers in Kadina between 13 and 23. A shower or two in Port Pirie, becoming windy and 24 degrees there, 18 in Clare, possible showers, and a sunny top of 27 in Broken Hill. Taking a look further through the week now, starting with the outlook for Friday. We'll end the working week with temperatures 24 degrees and under. Possible showers, 21 in Port Pirie. Windy conditions in Port Augusta, Whyalla, Kadina and Adelaide, cloudy in Woodner and Port Lincoln. Moving on to Saturday's outlook now, Cooper Pedy and Broken Hill will start the weekend with blue skies, 26 and 25 degrees there. Partly cloudy conditions over the rest of our map, 24 in Port Pirie, 23 in Port Augusta. And finally, looking ahead to Sunday's weather map, and the mercury will jump back up into the high 20s to low 30s. Partly cloudy and 27 in Kadina, and set to reach a top of 25 degrees in Adelaide. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. I'll see you a little later with an update. It's back to you, Maddie.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Wednesday. I'm Madeline Kerr. From all of us here, thanks so much for joining us. I'll have updates a little later, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.